Welcome back to Wave Dalker. Something different for you guys today. I didn't do a series preview for the Marlins series because there was a lot of TBAs and I didn't want to make any predictions or anything. I'm gonna take out my retainer. It's a little gross, but it was a lot of TBAs for both the Orioles and the Marlins, and I was like, I don't really want to, make any guesstimates or do anything, wrong for my series preview. So I'm gonna start doing series recaps and see how I feel about those. But yeah, Orioles just took 1 out of 3 from the Miami Marlins, lost 6-3 in the first 2 games, and won 7-6 in that last one. We were ahead 6-3 going into the 9th. Craig Kimbrell blew his 6th save of the year, and the Orioles have won 4 of those games, which is a really interesting stat. But took 1 out of 3 from the Marlins, a team that is, let's check it out here. I'm pretty sure that they're last in the NL East. Yeah, they are 37-36, 37-66, and we lost 2 straight games to them, 6-3, 6-3. And then we were able to, sneak away with a win. And we were still 2 games up on the New York Yankees, which has been great. The Mets did us a favor by sweeping them. But yeah, we're 4-6 in our last 10. I think that's all a stat. Let's go to StatMuse, great website for us. But Orioles record since June 2024. 2024. We are 23-21 since June 4th, 2024. But let's see July 4th. Yeah, we are 6-10 since July 4th. It's just been a really unfortunate stretch of baseball for us. Getting swept by the Cubs, almost getting swept by the Yankees, taking 2 out of 3 from the Rangers, really nice, and then losing 2 out of 3 from the Marlins. It's just been some ugly baseball over the last few weeks, and you can blame Bradish going down. That's like a huge piece of our rotation missing. You can blame the bats getting cold, but you can't really blame that. That's just how baseball goes. I just think this team is in a really interesting spot. Winning 101 games last year, winning 61 games through 102 games at this point. So let's see. 61 divided by 102. 59.8. So let's do 0.59 times 162. So at this point, we're on pace for 96 wins, which is not as good as we were. We were at one point on pace for 106 wins. We've definitely cooled off over the past few weeks. I think the biggest points of this team that are really on display is that outside of Anthony Santander, I think our 2 stars, our guys that we've been clamoring for extensions for, Rookie of the Year last year, 2-time All-Star, Gunnar Henderson, and Adley Rutschman, they have been very, very cold over the past few weeks. Let's go Gunnar Henderson since July 4th, 2024. He's been, okay, you know what? Not Gunnar. I guess he's been on a homer cold stretch, but I don't know. I feel like they've been pressing a lot recently. But Adley Rutschman, I can guarantee you that he's been cold. It's just been, I don't know. It's been a really rough stretch over the past few weeks, and I think it's becoming more and more evident, as if it already wasn't evident prior to July 4th, that this team needs to make some trades. We've had the number 1 farm system in baseball for, I think, the last 3 seasons. Mike Elias has been our GM since 2019. That was his first year. Yeah, Adley is 151 in 14 games. He's had 8 hits over his last 14 games. Not too hot for Adley. He's had 53 at-bats, and he is 8 for 53. Very, very cold for Adley. But, like I said, we've had the number 1 farm system in baseball for the last 3 years. Mr. Mike Elias has been our GM since 2019. First draft, drafting Adley and Gunnar, which is huge. Obviously we appreciate that. Those are 2 legacy players for this team that hopefully will be Orioles for their entire life. But at some point you have to kind of begin to question his willingness to part ways with this farm system that he's built. Yes, we traded for Corbin Burns. He has been arguably the best pitcher in the American League. He is the reason that we are the record that we are. Without Corbin Burns, you could argue that we don't have more than 50 wins. Like you could say we're 61 and 41, and you could argue that without Corbin Burns, we maybe have 50 wins and could be, in third or fourth place in the American League East. That was a huge deal, getting rid of DL Hall, getting rid of Joey Ortiz, both guys that were drafted by the Orioles and, were beloved by the fans. Joey Ortiz is having a great season in Milwaukee, and that was huge. It was at that point that I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. But, and then we get new ownership coming in. David Rubenstein, huge. He's been doing a lot of pandering recently, which I appreciate. Like, he's, creating a really good environment and culture with this team, as opposed to John Angelo's just kind of puttering around up in his suite and not really doing anything and being kind of a cheapskate. But at some point you have to be like, all right, let's do something here, because 101 wins is great. Getting something in the LDS, not great. Rookie of the Year, great. Manager of the Year, great. Like, last season was, you could argue that 2022 was the real turning point. Like, okay, this is serious. We called up our number one prospect. We were above 500 for the first time in like 6 seasons. It's great. Gunnar Henderson coming up. There's a lot more guys coming up. And then 2023, 101 wins, won the AL East, great. But then you kind of have to be like, all right, when are we going to... Because if you look at the last few World Series champions, the Texas Rangers, they made deals. They traded for Max Scherzer. They signed Jacob deGrom. They signed Marcus Semien. They signed Corey Seager. Like, they acquired these big names. And while deGrom and Scherzer were these big contributors to the World Series title, they still made splashes. And then you look at the 2022 or 2021 Braves. They also made splashes at the trade deadline. They're 9-man lineup. Their consistent lineup was almost completely flipped on its head. From, if you look at it from April to September, you look at any number of champions. You have to have roster turnover, or not completely, but I'm kind of sick of seeing Ramon Urias. I'm kind of sick of seeing Austin Hayes. I'm starting to get sick of the Mountcastles and the Marlins. While those are beloved members of our team for the past 6, 5, 4 years, I think you kind of have to acknowledge that they have value. And we have guys down low, down the farm, that we could realistically replace. And obviously, I'm not, immediately vouching for trading Mountie, trading Mullins. Honestly, I want to keep Mullins if we can. But Mountcastle, I've looked and I've seen what Ryan O'Hearn is capable of. I see that we have, a Heston Kjerstad type who can be that DH, potentially first base guy. Kobe Mayo has been getting time at first base in Norfolk. I just feel like Mike Elias kind of has to be like, okay, this bullpen has not been very good. Our hitting has been kind of cold. We called up Connor Norby after, that horrible Jorge Mateo injury, and he had a home run yet today. That's awesome, But, I don't know. I feel like trade deadline July 21st or 31st. Today is July 25th. I hope to God that I wake up tomorrow morning to something. I hope to God that I wake up Saturday morning to something. The signs are there, and they've been there for a very, very long time. Losing Wells, losing Means, losing Coulomb, losing Bradish. It's come on. Corbin Burns, Grayson Rodriguez, and Dean Kramer are the 3 guys that are on the current roster right now that I trust to give me and go out there and give me a good start. But besides that, anybody else on this team right now, I can't trust them to go out and give me 5 or 6 innings of good baseball. Suarez, he's been falling off a cliff recently. I like him in the pen. That's where he's probably gonna end up. Chase McDermott, his first start, he looked all right. Cade Povich, he had a few good showings, but then, eventually he fell back down to earth, and now he's back in Norfolk. You need to go out there and get 2 to 3 arms. I hope that by August 1st that we have at least 2 or 3 guys from Norfolk called up. And I hope that 2 or 3 of them in Norfolk or Bowie are gone. I just think that this team needs to stop twirling their hair, I keep voice cracking. Twirling their hair, kicking their feet, and just go out there and be like, we have the number 1 farm system in baseball. We are one of the best teams in baseball this year, record-wise. We have talent up in the majors right now that you can, leverage for something. Just do something, please. I don't want to lose 2 out of 3 games to a, 15, a 20-game under team again this season. I can't do it. I can't do it. This team is capable of so much more. It's just, I know this is supposed to be a series recap, but that's the recap. My favorite baseball team lost 2 out of 3 games, and I realized how much we need pitching, how much we need, younger, more competent hitting. It's just been this is the breaking point. My favorite baseball team won a game today to push us to 20 games above 500 and still 2 games up in the division, and I'm upset. So, Michael Eyes, do something, please. Crazy ramble. That's probably how all the recaps are going to be. I don't know. I like rambling as opposed to just listing off, pitching probables. I think it's just more entertaining. And the previews don't really supply anything, but the recaps allow me to kind of debrief and be like, okay, how did I feel about this series? But I digress. We take on the Padres this weekend. Grayson, Dean, TVA. Looking forward to seeing Manny back. I'm going to be there tomorrow night, floppy hat night. Let's go out and win 2 out of 3. Let's go ahead and sweep these guys. We did not play very well against them last year, so let's turn that around. Dylan Cease just pitched a no-hitter today for them. Let's sweep these guys, and let's really, turn on the Jets. We got Blue Jays coming to town on Monday. This is huge. This is a huge series, and this kind of determines... if this series didn't already determine that we need to make moves, this is really, once the series ends, there's going to be one more day for the trade deadline. Make some moves, please. Go O's, and peace out.